Could you give us example of each one, just one of each of those that you've
So,
experienced?
yeah. So, for example, when you're looking at this space, I really think it kind of breaks into three buckets for me right now. We've got wellness, and wellness is going to be that membership based option that drives people through your doors. It's kind of like a lot of these people in the space are fitness people, and we understand the recurring revenues and things like that. So, if you build a business on just wellness alone, it's not a bad move. But you're missing out on things like beauty, you're missing out on aesthetics, and you're missing out
Mm-hmm.
on even things like your medical sector, for example. So, one of the things that we've learned in launching businesses is get the basics right first. And so you get that wellness right first, and then potentially you add on that medical or you add on that beauty. So, a perfect example is when you open a facility up and you've got all three of these things firing. You think all three are going to fire very, very well. Well, the reality is, hopefully, you get one out of the three right. What you got to do is make sure that one stays right. And then you pivot off focusing on maybe all wellness solutions. And you start to pivot into marketing and talking about the things like the beauty solutions that are out there and the aesthetic solutions. So, a pivot for us was when we first started, we had we had a lot of nurses at all times. So in our facility, when we talk about medical, you add nurses, which adds to payroll, obviously. We quickly found out that we essentially started and said, look, we want our nurses to do the majority of the selling to people when they walk in the door. And by selling, I mean education. But when we said selling to nurses, nurses were like, we don't do that. We are no way, man. That's not what no, nurses are very black and white. They're protocol, they're SOP driven. So we quickly had to pivot out of a format where our nurses were doing the selling into our nurses just doing educating and bringing somebody up front to actually do the sales process. When we started to do the sales process, we quickly had to pivot into realizing, like I said earlier, it becomes almost diarrhea of the mouth when you show people 10 things and they just don't get it. We then had to pivot to let's get the right PAR-Q put together here. Let's get the right questions to lead this people down the path. At the end of the day, one of the biggest things that I think we forgot about when we started recovery was that overall sales process of it's not about what we want to put people in. It's about what that customer's journey is. What's that unique outcome for that person? So our initial pivot in starting these was realizing, hey, we don't need to overstaff this place with nurses. We're not going to have 50 people walking through the door to get IVs at once. And if they do, here's what we're going to do.